the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing for a moment of silence for reflection of the 9/11 coming up. Thank you. Please have a seat. If you have a cell phone, please silence it or turn it off. Roll call, please.
Karlovic.
Here.
Kramer.
Here.
Reichner.
Here.
Reese.
Here.
Eisner.
The meeting is now adjourned for the public meeting of CDBG.
Hello.
I'm sorry.
Oh, right here, okay. My name's Heather Wisen. I'm filling in for Linda Sterling on behalf of the CDBG program. We are proposing a budget revision for the city of Sunbury. This money will come from the fiscal year 2017 from the demolition project through the Housing Authority. This project was abandoned for reasons that they were unable to identify a property that required demolition in time to use by the funding, the end date of the funding. So the proposal is to put that money, which is in the amount of $28,110, into the Chestnut Street area milling and pavement, also known as Chestnut Street Phase 4. That current budget for that project is $189,985. With the additional budget revision, it would put it at $218,095.
I'll make that formal motion.
Oh, we're not open yet. We have to wait until we open the meeting.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Well, then I guess the meeting's called back to order.
I'll make that formal motion.
Second.
Kramer.
Yes.
Reichner.
Yes.
Reese.
Yes.
Eisner. Karlovic.
Yes. Is there any audience comment on agenda items only at this time? Make the motion to approve the minutes of August 26, 2019, and the reports of the fire department, police department, treasurer, engineer, code office, and the planning commission.
Second.
Reichner.
Yes.
Reese.
Yes.
Eisner. Karlovic.
Yes.
Kramer.
Yes.
And we have some members of the DAR here, the Daughters of American Revolution. Getting ahead of myself here. So I just have a proclamation for them. Whereas the Constitution of these United States of America was established on September 17, 1787, and secured her commitment to freedom and democracy, a commitment which has guided us through more than 2 centuries of growth and change. And whereas in 1955, the Daughters of the American Revolution petitioned Congress to set aside September 17th through the 23rd annually to be dedicated for the observance of Constitution Week. The resolution was later adopted by the U.S. Congress and signed into public law number 915 on August 2, 1956 by President Dwight D. Eisenhower. And whereas it is fitting and proper to recognize this magnificent document and its memorable anniversary and to the patriotic celebrations which commemorate it. And whereas September 17, 2019 marks the 232nd anniversary of the framing of the Constitution of the United States of America by the Constitutional Convention. And whereas we celebrate the Constitution and the people that have made these United States of America the greatest nation in the world. And now therefore be it resolved that I, Kurt Karlovic, being mayor of the city of Sunbury, county of Northumberland, Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, on behalf of the Sunbury City Council members and citizens, do hereby proclaim September 17, 2019 through September 23, 2019 as Constitution Week. I call upon all members of the city of Sunbury and surrounding communities to fly the flag of the United States of America.
Well, greetings, Mayor Karlovic, committee members, and guests. Yeah, he's done his homework, and he took a lot of what I have in my little speech, so I can just condense my speech. I'm Deborah Park. I'm Regent of the Fort Augusta Chapter, National Society, Daughters of the American Revolution. We have a chapter here in Sunbury, PA. The DAR was formed in 1890 for women who are direct descendants of a Revolutionary War patriot. Today's DAR is one of the largest service organizations with close to 1 million members and over 3,000 chapters worldwide. Our mission is to promote historical preservation, education, and patriotism. Our motto is God, home, and country. Today's DAR strives to continue the ideals that made America great by serving communities across the country. The Fort Augusta chapter, of which I'm the current regent, was formed, as Mayor Karlovich said, in 1893. When we were first formed, our chapter was called the Sunbury chapter. And then it was changed to the Fort Augusta chapter to honor the largest, strongest, and most important fortification on the frontier of the province of Pennsylvania. And in 1920, our chapter helped the state of Pennsylvania acquire the site of what is now the Fort Augusta Museum and Northumberland County Historical Society. In 2018, our chapter cleaned the headstones in the Hunter Grant Cemetery, which is directly behind the Northumberland County Historical Society, and we dedicated a plaque to Revolutionary War ancestors, patriots, and soldiers who are buried there. Our chapter presents awards for JROTC and Good Citizen committees at 2 local high schools, Shikellamy and Sunbury Christian. We provide go bags and coat collections for children and youth. We donate food and toys to Haven Ministries. We're involved with the local SAR, the Sons of the American Revolution, and CAR, the Children of the American Revolution. We participate in parades. We collect cell phones for soldiers. We visit veterans in nursing homes. We attend veteran graveside services. We contribute to DAR-funded schools and Alpha, Beta, K-9, just to name a few. We support the Constitution and respect the flag. Tonight, we are here to celebrate Constitution Week and the 232nd anniversary of the Constitution. This Constitution, this week-long celebration of America's most essential document, is our country's least known official observance. That's something that the DAR is striving to change, because we believe, as George Washington did, that the Constitution is the guide which we must never abandon. For more than 200 years, America has stood for hope, hope for a new life and a better tomorrow. Even in our most trying times and darkest hours, the Constitution has remained a guiding light for the country whose people are her greatest strengths. This Constitution Day, let us rededicate ourselves to our founding principles. Let us preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution for individual liberty, equal treatment, and limited government power. If you wouldn't mind, could you stand and recite the preamble to the U.S. Constitution with me at this time? We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America. Thank you.
Well, thank you. You're welcome. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
All right. So it's been long overdue this year, but with a lot of work between our solicitor, I greatly thank Joe Weiss and his law firm for helping us with this. Members of City Council, Chris Reese, members of our police department, Corporal Remagen, Troman Slack, thank you, and all the other rest of the patrolmen in the police department. So it's been a lot of work, a lot of negotiations for over half a year right now, but we've come to a contract which we believe is good for the city and good for the police department and to move the city forward. And Joe Weiss is going to go over the highlights of it.
Let me say that this would not have been possible absent the cooperation between council and the police officers. That being said, obviously this has not yet been passed or accepted by either side. However, it's my understanding it's going to be brought to a vote this evening. In a couple of the major changes, a lot of this language in this contract has stayed the same, but a couple of changes are that instead of being a 3-year contract, there was previously a 3-year contract which ended in 2015. This is a 5-year contract which will begin this year and end in 23, I'm sorry. The salary has a lot of changes, and I'll probably come back to that and talk about that last. As far as the comp hours, the officers were previously allowed to collect and recoup up to 240 hours of compensation time. They have generously agreed to accept only 120 hours of compensation time in the new contract. Further, the officers have agreed that instead of 2,080 hours of acquired sick leave, they will accept 1,080 hours as the top of the sick leave which may be acquired. These things will go a long way in helping us to greatly lower payouts as officers retire. The sick leave accrual has changed from 144 hours to 120 hours. The sick leave accumulation has changed from 2,080 hours to 1,080 hours. And for the health insurance, the city officers will now be paying 7% of the cost thereof. Previously, they received health insurance for no contribution. The dental, vision, and prescription insurance for the officers and their families will also all now receive a 7% payment from the officers. The pension, regarding the pension clause in the contract, the DROP program, which is the retired officer program, has been taken out of the contract such that that is no longer available to the officers, and that's something that's happening pretty much statewide is my understanding, but again, our officers had to agree to allow us to remove it, and they have, to the best of my knowledge. The other thing is that instead of being able to simply retire after 20 years of service, they now must be not only employed by the city of Sunbury for 20 years, but they must be age 50 in order to retire, which will help us obviously in saving costs by and through the pension fund.
I only want to mention they can retire prior to, but can't draw until 50.
Exactly. They may retire prior to 50, but they can't draw their pension until they reach age 50. And that's a good catch. The only other major addition to the contract at this time is that the officers have agreed and their association has agreed that it would not oppose regionalization of the city police department if said issue should arise during the term of this agreement, as long as the current officers' positions would be retained, which we would obviously want to do in any event. Those are the basics of the changes to the contract. I'm not going to bore everybody sitting here by even attempting to read the contract to you, but those are the basics of the changes. There's some little wording changes, etc. throughout, but that's it. in a nutshell.
And just to highlight on the salary grades, to start off on the base, the probationary salary, which is the lowest salary, new recruit right out of the police academy, it would only take them prior up to 6 years to get up to the max level of the salary. Now we adjusted it so it'll take them 8 years to get to the max, and we've actually stabilized the salaries from the probationary to the top tier, and they only receive the actual 2% increase once they are on the top tier for each year thereafter, for the length of this time.
Competitive as well with
Yes.
the
And we-
area police.
And we adjusted the probationary salary, we actually raised it to be,
Basically, some of our part-time officers were able to earn more than our probationary officers, which obviously was not fair to the probationary officers. We therefore raised the initial payment to, or salary for the probationary officers, and have raised accordingly the salary ranks above it. However, it will take them, again, as the mayor stated, 8 years to get to the top level, whereas it took them 6 years before. But again, we wanted to remain competitive with other local police departments so that we can get the best possible officers, other than the officers we currently have. And we want to add and complement them, and I think the best way to do that is through what has been accomplished with the good graces of both council and the Police Officers Association. And that is that.
So,
I'd just like to thank Brad and Travis for the level-headedness and the rest of council during this, because it's something that in my tenure here hasn't been shown until this contract came up. We really had some rough times in the past. And you guys know it, and we know what the situation was, but I really appreciate the level-headedness that was used in working this contract out.
I was gonna say, Mr. Mayor, I want to thank you, because I know you worked hard in the structural things with Chris and Joel. Beth and Kevin worked on the numbers. And one thing I want to add there is the fact that, and also the police department, 50% on the spouse also.
Right. The officers have graciously agreed that upon retirement, their life insurance would, their pension would remain, I get confused sometimes. After 2016. Their pension monies would remain at 100% for the officer. However, the widow benefit would reduce if the officer passed away to 50% of the pension cost, which is again in keeping, I think, with a lot of area, actually in keeping with statutory law too.
That was for the officers hired after.
Right. That's it.
And there's 3 of you grandfathered.
Three of us grandfather. If I just may add to it, Corporal Bremingen and Officer Slacker back there, I've done about 4 or 5 contracts myself between the city, and I could say this much, it's never easy, it's never fun, but what these guys do on a day-to-day basis, and I give Travis and Brad a lot of credit. Over the last year, we've been busting our tail to keep the department kind of together, and those guys really worked hard to keep it together, especially with the contract talks and just getting you guys hired. We said it was going to be a long year, and it has been, but I think once we all sat down at the table and got everything worked out, I give those two a lot of credit, along with the mayor and Councilman Reese, really, and Attorney Weiss too. Really went to town, and I think it's fair. I'm not speaking for everybody, but I'm saying that this is one of the fairest contracts I've seen, where everybody kind of gave and take, and it worked out really well. So I just appreciate everybody that worked on this, especially the guys back there and the mayor and council.
thank you.
I also want to mention the police pension is in very good shape.
Yeah, it's in very good shape.
And that's when they get better.
Mayor. I would just like to add, with the police department, to mayor and to the council, we appreciate you guys working with us. It was a tough contract. Everybody worked together. That's what the city's supposed to do with the police department, and the police department's supposed to do with the city, is work together. And we really have worked together. We've really seen a transformation in our police department, and I'd like to thank the mayor and I'd like to thank council for that. We're at the high morale is very high right now. Guys are working hard. we're solving crime, we're out there doing things that we haven't been able to do in the past because of the leadership and because of the guys and because of the council and because of the mayor. I just want to thank everybody for that and thank everybody for the opportunity to actually sit on this, this panel with doing the contract. It was a give and take, and everybody did well, and I just want to thank you guys for working together with us.
Thank you, Travis. All right. So with that, I make a motion to accept this new police contract that ends in 2023.
Kramer? Reichner?
Yes.
Reese?
Yes.
Eister?
Yes.
Karlovic?
Yes. And just a quick little update, because we knew the negotiations were coming up, we did budget an alarming amount of legal fee money this year. So we are actually way ahead of where we were last year. So prior to date, it was $183,380 we spent in legal and last year.
I was gonna say, wow.
It's like, Joel.
And current year to date is only $26,635, and that's not including the solicitor. So both of these figures, it's astronomically over $100,000. We were good. And I will also be presenting to council at our next council meeting another full-time hire for the police department. Ms. Ocker, resolution.
This is regarding the right to know law policy. In reviewing amidst my review during the consultation, came to realize that the last time the right to know law policy was January of 18, and since that time, the Pennsylvania Office of Open Records sent out an updated right to know law policy template that was dated in September of 2018. Additionally, it hadn't been updated with the current agency Office of Open Records officer's name as well as the alternate. So this policy is congruent with the template that was provided by the state of Pennsylvania and codifies and puts in writing our local policy on administering the right to know law policy.
So make a,
So, you as the right to
Yes.
know officer?
Yes, and Jolene is the alternate.
so just make a motion to accept this resolution.
Second?
Eister?
Yes.
Karlovic?
Yes.
Kramer?
Yes.
Reichner?
Yes.
Reese?
Councilwoman Kramer, tax
We
exoneration.
have 5 people on the list for tax exonerations, and it comes to $918. And I make a motion that we exonerate these.
Second.
Karlovic?
Yes.
Kramer? Reichner?
Yes.
Reese? Eister?
Yes.
And as far as the accounts payable, we don't have any liquid fuel bills, but we have $29,217.26 in general fund expenses. I make a motion that we pay these bills now.
Second.
Eister?
Yes.
Karlovic?
Yes.
Kramer?
Yes.
Reichner?
Yes.
Reese?
Ms. Ocker.
Yes, this is under old business, the offer from the Howard family to donate 3 properties to the city of Sunbury. 241, 243 Penn Street was sold at tax auction several weeks ago and was acquired by the redevelopment authority, so that took one of those properties off the list. Another property, 245, 247 Penn Street was, the title search has been done, so at the last council meeting, the vote was to accept the properties pending title search. So this, I'm giving you the results of the title searches. So 245, 247 Penn Street has the $18,000 lien against it, also back taxes since 2016. It is scheduled for an upset sale on the 19th of September. And then the garage property, also situated at the rear of Church Street, also has back taxes from 2017, 2018, and it is also scheduled for the upset sale on the 19th of September. I spoke with the redevelopment authority solicitor, Brianna Applebaum-Kula, and her recommendation was to let these properties meet the sales. She thinks it's unlikely that they would be sold at the upset sale, and then at the next step, the sale would go into place, and the redevelopment authority may choose to bid on them at that time. And it would save the city from being responsible for the back taxes and the liens on the properties.
I have a question. So, about the redevelopment authority, I remember when I first came on, they said that they don't buy properties. Because when they buy a property, who's responsible for maintaining it? Do they maintain it or do we maintain it?
We've been maintaining.
So we maintain the properties that they are buying.
Yes.
So is their when they buy a property, is their purpose to rehab and sell?
Rehab and sell.
Okay.
Or rehab or sell.
Okay.
In this situation, I think they're trying to recover their expenditures,
Gotcha.
which came through the county, a lot of them might came through the county.
Yes.
But even the one we took down, same situation there.
Okay. Just a question.
So we just make a motion not to accept these properties.
Who seconded?
Yeah.
You did. Ister,
Yes.
Karlovic.
Yes.
Kramer,
Yes.
Reichtner, Reese.
Yes.
Strategic management.
Yes, so this is a follow-up, at the last council meeting, Councilman Reichner recommended that all council members be present before a vote be taken. This is regarding participation in the strategic management planning program offered by DCED. And the purpose of that program is to assess the financial status of the city and project it out for the next 3 to 5 years, to identify opportunities to improve our financial status. It also gives us access to any recommendations that would be made by the report on findings from the initial assessment. We would also be eligible to apply for additional grants. Normally, the grant that's associated with this program is a 50-50 match. However, the state has agreed for Sunbury that it would be a 70-30 match. In other words, the state would pay 70% of the grant, contribute 70%, and the city would have to contribute 30%. And so I believe I've given the council members information at several council meetings that put before you. And so if you'd like any further discussion.
I think, just to clarify, last time they had brought up about just doing the application and going out for bid for what it would cost for the, basically the estimate of what we need. So we weren't actually paying anything yet. It was just
the application, fill the application out.
fill out the application and it would get us the proposal bids back on what it would actually cost to go through the process
Yes.
at that point.
Yes.
So I'll make a motion to proceed with that application.
And a second with it.
Karlovic,
Yes.
Kramer,
No.
Reichtner,
Yes.
Reese,
Yes.
Ister.
Yes.
All right, New Year's Eve committee meeting is September 25th at 6 p.m. The next Heart and Heritage Committee meeting is October 23rd at 6 p.m. The Owner Occupied Housing Rehabilitation Public Meeting is September 23rd at 5:45 p.m. Next City Council meeting is September 23rd at 6:15. Is there any audience comment at this time? All right.
Beverly Mercer, citizen. I want to talk about, I live at the top of Line Street Hill. Children walk down the middle of the street all the time. They're down at the bottom of the hill, they ride their bikes. People drive down that hill. They hit the top of the hill and they're airborne. I've seen it. I sit on my porch, I see it all the time. I'm just waiting for some child to be cremated by that. Yeah, it's really pretty horrible. I don't know what you can do, I don't know. I guess speed bumps are not permitted, but maybe signs that say, watch for children, something, because I'm afraid somebody's going to get.
There's a bus stop at the bottom of that hill or something, is there?
A school bus? School bus? I don't know.
Okay.
I
I
don't
think
pay
it's
attention.
Ridge Street, it's where they pick children up at the daycare.
Street?
Yeah, this is Line Street, it's where it's closed off with sled riding and stuff.
Yeah.
But people literally fly down that hill, they hit that, and I watch them go, and I see children down there, you know? So I think that's something the city really
Yeah, so
needs to.
We've been around a lot of places throughout the city, been going and putting like stop on the road or slow or anything right on the road, so you can do that. So Jody just took a note, we're gonna let Steve Welker know to go up and take a look at it, probably tomorrow.
Yeah, there's
And
nothing.
then if he deems it too,
yeah.
they'll just write slow right on the road, so you'll see you have a sign.
If they are not going too fast to even read it, because literally they are
Yeah,
flying.
But that's our best way to
And I don't know
do
what,
that.
I mean, they must be doing 40, 50 miles an hour down a city street, you know, it's crazy. The other thing I'd like to propose to the city, and I did talk to the mayor about this a while back. I stayed in a small town in California before I came out here, and it had been a thriving town like Sunbury used to be. And then it went dead because malls came in and big movie complexes, etc. So what they ended up doing, they put a small two-theater movie theater in town, even though there were all these malls around, a lot more than we have here. What that did is it brought people into, they liked the small town experience of going to a local movie. And then after, they want to go eat. So all the restaurants started picking up. And then after you're done eating, you like to walk around. So all the little businesses started. Now it's a thriving foot traffic town, especially on the weekends. I know the Strand Theater is still there. The building is. I guess it's gutted, but the building is there. And I just think that would be something, I've talked to so many people in this area and out of the area that said they would travel to Sunbury if they had a movie theater like that. Our closest movie theater is 8 miles away. If you don't drive, if you're elderly, you're young, whatever, you can't get there, there's no public transportation. So you don't get to go to the movie. But if you have something locally, maybe on the weekends, have matinees for children, and then in the evening, have adult movies. You know, it's just a way to bring life back to this beautiful city. I did talk to you about that.
You did, I remember.
And you said that, oh, everybody wants to stay home and watch Netflix, which to a certain extent is true, but going to the movie, to me, is a social event. People get together with their friends, and, you know, it's just a whole different flow. So it's just something I think would be really good for the city.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you for your
And
comment.
thank you for all the good jobs you guys are doing. I see a difference in this town in the last year or so. Thank you.
Any other audience comment tonight?
I just had a couple comments about the, Joe Bartello. Just wanted to ask about the police contract. You said that you were grandfather, there was 3 of you, what is that? I missed that part. What parts were your grandfather?
If I may, Mayor, there's 2 parts. Travis, myself, and Brad are grandfathered for the 100% widow benefit. That's because there's a law that came through that anybody hired after 2016
That was the only part.
has to be 50%, and then there was only one other one that was the 20 years and out. Travis and I are grandfathered for the 50, age 50, because I'm 2 years away and he's 3, so it was just to be fair to the 2 of us.
No, I was just curious if that was.
Those were the only, we're the only
contract, or
2,
if it was just those 2 parts.
just the 2 parts, that's it.
And with the regional, the part where you took out the regional,
No, we added the
We put it in.
regionalization.
There was we put in a new paragraph about regionalization before, where there was something in the middle of a paragraph. We actually added it as an article.
Just allows it.
that it allows for
It
it.
allows for it.
I mean, why would you, are you thinking
Because
about regionalizing, is that?
Well,
is that
just
on
in
the
case it would
agenda?
come up, we wanted to have the associations okay ahead of time.
Yeah, we've always actually been for it, Joe. We've always actually been for it's much better for, it would be much better for the area. It takes a lot of time and effort to do that.
But when you say regionalization, do you mean like the state police taking over?
No, we're talking about if we merge with other departments or something like that to make a bigger department, we would, we're for it.
Basically, we're regionalized already. No, I'm just saying, in your mind, probably already regionalized because we get help from other departments.
Yeah, but then we would all be absorbed to one, it was almost like Buffalo Valley. Buffalo Valley merged with East Buffalo and Lewisburg, and they have one department now. That's what we're talking about.
The biggest thing would be a savings to the taxpayers if we go to the
Well, I mean, we would be the largest population
Correct.
in the region,
Yeah.
which means we would pay the most for it,
Yes.
Yes.
but we probably wouldn't get the most protect, you know, I mean, depending on where
Well,
the
there
regional
would, there
thing
would
is
be,
located, depending on where it would be
there
located.
would be substations, for lack of a better way to put it, in every location. And there would be-
This is the
Yeah,
conversation.
there's no
It's not
regionalization
even there.
meetings, we haven't
Well,
met
that's
at
why I
all
asked,
about
I
this.
just thought it was something on the table that you were just being
It's
brought
a
into it.
nationwide recommendation.
Yes.
GCD is talking about regionalization for everything.
All right, so your answer is no, then it's not on the table.
No.
No. Just being proactive, Joe.
Okay, me too.
Any other audience comments tonight? All right, thank you all for coming out tonight, this meeting is now adjourned.
So,